Okay, good morning and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. Today I want to talk about Hadley cells, their construction and what is happening to them in our climate right now. Alright, so there's a couple of things wrong with searching for information in this day and age, because I'll just come here and put in Hadley cells and this picture here will show up. Next thing you know, somebody's telling me I don't do any actual proper research and I only go by these kind of things, which of course I don't. But this one that we see right here immediately shows what doesn't happen. This picture on the top right shows that air goes down to the equator, heats up, and then goes right back to the North Pole. You know, that's not what happens. This is what happens. There's several cells, many cells, and they all are in opposite rotation to one another. Most definitely at the equator. So, what's the problem with Hadley cells? Well, Hadley cells are weakening and they are widening. Let's just have a couple of bits of information on the Hadley cell. The Hadley cell, named after George Hadley, is a global-scale tropical atmospheric circulation that features air rising near the equator, flowing poleward at a height of 10 to 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface, descending in the subtropics, then returning equatorward near the surface. This circulation creates the trade winds, tropical rain belts and hurricanes, subtropical deserts and jet streams. Hadley cells are the low-altitude overturning circulation that have air sinking at roughly 0 to 30 degree latitude. So that of course would be this, but gravity doesn't do this, okay? And you can't just sit there and say trade winds form Hadley cells, because that's nonsense and not science. Hadley cells are there for a reason, and the reason is due to electromagnetism. So if, along with electric universe theory, we find out that there are increases and decreases in our electrical atmosphere, our electrical sun atmosphere, and our general solar system atmospheres are changing. We just had a massive outburst from the middle of the center of our galaxy, from the supposed black hole that's there. It just gave off a energy pulse. So a lot of things are happening that shouldn't be, and Hadley cells are weakening and they are widening, and the reason for this is that the Hadley cells are based upon and are forced and worked by electricity and magnetism, the Earth's electromagnetic shell. Now, what did Climate Signal's beta site have to say about it? Well, the Hadley cell expansion. As global temperatures rise, the temperature difference between the poles and the equator is likely to decrease, expanding the cell of air circulation adjacent to the equator, known as the Hadley cell. One effect this has is that mid-latitude regions like the Mediterranean and the southwestern US are likely to see an increase in sea level pressure, which corresponds to drier weather. And now I can't go any further down. Okay, at the bottom of the paper it says the physical considerations. The Hadley cell is the most prominent tropical circulation feature. It extends through the entire depth of the troposphere from the equator to the subtropics at about 30 degrees latitude line over both hemispheres. The cell develops in response to intense solar heating near the equator, which of course would be surface magnetism. Model projections indicate that the Hadley circulation will shift its downward branch poleward in both the northern and southern hemispheres, causing drying in the subtropics as a result. Scientists have already observed a poleward shift of the southern Hadley cell. What does that mean? That means the clouds are moving backwards towards the South Pole, away from the equator. Alright, let's see what I've done in the past and what my explanation and God's explanation is for this withdrawal of the clouds in a poleward direction. Okay, so this is our Hadley cell Earth sphere, and this is my drawing. So I'm just going to move it over now so that we can get rid of the animation Hadley cell. So as you can see on the left there, I have what seemed to be in February the 20th, 2015, like a ridiculous picture. Now I have the north and south energy coming in. There is also energy coming in at the equator, obviously, because this is where the sun shines. This is where we get double helix intertwining of north and south fields, because that's what north and south fields do. When they meet, they coil into each other. I'll be having a video about that coming soon, so that we get a double helix at our equator, which is what causes storms, and that's what the Hadley cell is supposed to do. It causes a storm by rising and falling cold air, when it's not. A storm, a typhoon, a hurricane, a tornado only occurs when two opposing magnetic fields meet, north and south, and they intertwine into a double helix funnel. So what's causing that weird pattern on the left? Well, energy's coming in, and energy acts like water, and so it flows in. That would be the top view pictures in the center there, the center picture, top view. Energy comes in and literally rolls around the earth in waves. So as it's being pumped in, north or south, depending on which one is working, north is at one half of the year and south is at the other half of the year, and it will tilt the earth. These waves hit the earth and splash down to the equator, and from the south they splash down to the equator, which is where they mix, because they can't pass each other, because they immediately roll into each other. So a south field can only bend itself around the north field, and the north field can only bend itself around the south field, but it can't get past it because it's intertwined at the equator. So I've got my little picture in there in the center, which is the same as pouring water onto a plate. You will get an Ouroboros field around the streams of water. And then if we go a little bit further on, we have the one interlinked wave connected, and this is because if you have a flow of water, every wave is interconnected and is connected to the next one. So that is an extremely simple representation of an interlinked wave that arrives at the equator. There's no breaks in it, and I've got planetary rings there and all sorts of things going on. So the thing is, if our electromagnetic field changes, weakens, or if you heat up a magnet, the EM field gets weaker. Our planet is heating up. Our atmosphere is being compressed because our EM field is shrinking due to the heat, because magnetism isn't a fan of heat. That's radiation. It's something slightly different. So if our EM field starts to weaken, the poles will open up and the cells at the equator will open up. So what we will actually see is a hole open up at the poles, and we will see a widening of the cells at the equator. Now we've just seen earlier in the video that this is happening, and that the cells are moving back to the north and south poles. So what does God have to say about that? Well, about the Hadley cells, God is quite specific. You just need to know that the Bible is an electrical event. So here we go, the sixth seal, terror. And when I saw the Lamb open the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black like sackcloth of goat hair, and the whole moon turned blood red, and the stars of the sky fell to the earth like unripe figs dropping from a tree shaken by a great wind. The sky receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. So the sky receded like a scroll being rolled up. And as I showed by this picture, a magnetic field is scrolls, like petals on a flower that roll up. Waves, rolling waves. And so the sky will recede like a scroll being rolled up. And then the kings of the earth, the nobles, the commanders, the rich, the mighty, and every slave and free man hid in the caves. As they are doing, the governments have all built their little hidey holes underground and among the rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to withstand it? So yeah, we just go back to 14, where the sky recedes like a scroll being rolled up. This is what men saw. They couldn't see electromagnetism and they had no idea what it was. But I do, and so do you. Unfortunately, though, you've been told about a reciprocating magnetic field which doesn't have any waves anywhere. It's just got nonsense going from north to south and nonsense going from south to north. They don't do that, as I have proven on video by separating the north and south fields at the inertial line. That's on one of my previous videos. So thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and I'm showing you all the things that he showed me. And the sky rolling up like a scroll will be all the Hadley cells retreating when the field collapses. And then every person will say to the rocks, fall on us and hide us, because you're not going to be very happy. All right, thanks very much. Everything I say, I was given in visions in 2014, 3 weeks, day and night, went on for months, of seeing how the whole universe was connected and how it works by double helix energy flow given to me by God of the Bible in visions in 2014. Thanks a lot. Bye.